So what we can see here is that we basically have what's called a wedge pattern building, and wedge pattern is an upsloping trend line here, and you have your flat top, which right here, and then just a couple days ago we hit that. The day before we hit the low end. So as a wedge pattern tightens, right, as we get over here, it's going to eventually force price out of this range, and generally you get a big move outside of that range. So I would continue to remain bullish on Bitcoin here as long as you don't start trading below this lower trend line. As long as you stay in here, I would remain bullish. And I think, again, whether it's into year end or January, a spot ETF is coming at least one, and you'll get that at least one sort of surge to the upside.
The Bitcoin ETF fervor is gaining momentum, spreading enthusiastically throughout the cryptocurrency industry like wildfire. This comes as no surprise considering that the leading crypto asset has surged by approximately 125% year-to-date. Notably, renowned technical analyst and swing trader Gareth Soloway, who was initially skeptical, seems to have joined the ETF excitement. Despite expressing bearish sentiments about Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies for over a year, Soloway now suggests that the era of bearish views may be behind us. In a recent interview on the Barron network, Soloway, who was once known for his $99,000 Bitcoin predictions, has acknowledged the ongoing bull run. He anticipates even more interesting developments in the cryptocurrency market. According to Soloway, this current rally is akin to a mini bull run, and he foresees greater upsides for leading crypto assets in 2024, especially following the approval of a spot Bitcoin ETF. During the discussion, Soloway provided updated predictions and analyses for key cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, and Cardano. After 2 years of consistently bearish calls, he now identifies a particular blue-chip altcoin with significant potential upside in 2024, potentially surpassing the performance of well-performing altcoins like Solana this year. Soloway's shift in perspective adds an intriguing layer to the evolving narrative in the cryptocurrency market.
You're in a mini bull run. There's no doubt about it, right? So we've seen altcoins. There have been certain altcoins that have gone up 200 to 300% that are big names like Solana, Avalanche, all right? I mean, we've seen these type of moves. Bitcoin has been generally trending up for the last year plus at this point. So yes, you are in a run, a bull run. The question is, when people say bull run, they automatically assume new all-time highs. And I'm a little skeptical on that at this stage. And understanding that you're still going to get pullbacks. In the short term, I think, and this is the disconnect, is smaller investors, the retail crowds, crypto Twitter, crypto X, they're assuming that as soon as it gets deployed or approved, you're going to see this new bull run to new all-time highs. I think that it's going to take a lot longer. Having a spot ETF, right, is a step in the right direction, but it's still not going to make grandma who's 90 years old put a large chunk of money into, right? So you have to understand it's going to take time. There's a trust that has to be built. And honestly, we've still seen continued kind of fraudulent activities, filings and so forth that have broken a lot of that trust, or at least it has to be built back up. So the spot ETF is one more piece of the puzzle that will make for a huge long-term value in Bitcoin and in cryptocurrency. But I think it's faulty to expect that you get an approval, and I do think honestly, you get one of those, what they call God candles, right? Because people will rush in. But honestly, I will be looking to short it. I will short into that and wait to buy once it pulls back.
Where do you see Bitcoin let's say through the holiday and into the first week of December?
So what we can see here is that we basically have what's called a wedge pattern building, and wedge pattern is an upsloping trend line here, and you have your flat top, which right here, and then just a couple days ago we hit that. The day before we hit the low end. So as a wedge pattern tightens, right, as we get over here, it's going to eventually force price out of this range, and generally you get a big move outside of that range. So I would continue to remain bullish on Bitcoin here as long as you don't start trading below this lower trend line. As long as you stay in here, I would remain bullish. And I think, again, whether it's into year end or January, a spot ETF is coming at least one, and you'll get that at least one sort of surge to the upside. So I like the price action here. I think, again, as long as it holds this level, which is right now around 36,000 or 35.5, you stay bullish on it and you can stay long. I think if anything, you're sticking with Bitcoin, maybe Ethereum in this situation. Number one, the altcoins have run tremendously already. So again, you have to ask yourself, how much more can Solana go up in this environment, right? Where it's getting a little too extended. You have to see if it pulls back. But I think also there's the news specifically on the spot ETF is for Bitcoin. And so that's going to
Right.
draw a lot of interest in. And I think it maybe bleeds over because obviously we've heard about potentially an Ethereum ETF
Hmm.
coming out, a spot ETF there as well. And so I think those two lead horses benefit the most. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if money comes out of altcoins and actually goes into Bitcoin in that scenario
Interesting.
where that approval comes out. The one thing I do want to mention too is like, I'm talking relatively bullishly on crypto, but I do want to just mention that there is still one small risk that crypto could have a big dump out. And that would be if the equity markets, in my opinion, were to see a major, major collapse, like 50,
Yeah.
60%. Let's say we go into a tailspin, inflation still is slightly elevated, and we see the Fed unable to print our way out of those scenarios and the economy goes into the pits. Then I do think I do worry in those situations that you could see Ethereum moving back to 1100, Bitcoin possibly even 15,000 or lower. But again, that would require the stock market
Right.
to really take a tremendous.
Soloway anticipates a positive trajectory for Bitcoin and the broader cryptocurrency industry in 2024. Despite this optimism, his persistent bearish outlook prompts a warning of potential downsides in 2024, particularly if a stock market crash occurs. This caution is intertwined with his belief that the U.S. economy is on the brink of a recession, and he foresees economic disturbances negatively impacting both the stock and cryptocurrency markets. The discussion on the U.S. economy reveals a divergence of opinions. While Soloway sees the economy navigating murky waters, some economists and prominent investors argue that the Federal Reserve might prevent a significant economic decline. The characterization of the current economic state as a rolling recession by ARK Invest CEO, Cathie Wood, introduces the concept that different sectors may experience contractions or growth at varying times, potentially avoiding a full-fledged recession. As we await further insights from Soloway's interview, particularly regarding his perspective on altcoins like Polygon and Solana, the diverse opinions on the economic landscape highlight the complexity and uncertainty surrounding future market trends. Your thoughts on these contrasting viewpoints will contribute to the ongoing discussion as we delve deeper into Soloway's analysis.
Yeah, so Matic to me, and I'll jump my chart up on the screen here, is so what we've actually done is we've had a nice move up into resistance, though. And again, I want to show you where these lines come from. So you take this bullish run and you have the pivot low and the pivot low and this pivot low and then this pivot high. That's really where we went into. And you also take these lows and you stretch them through. And it's amazing how charts work like this. But the low here to the low here to the low here, and then it happens to be the high here. Also notice it's the high right over here. So in the
Right.
near term, this is a short-term high pivot, but this is the kicker, is after a bull run like this, what you do is you buy support. So you have to respect the move, and when it pulls back to a level, and I'm going to show you where I'm going to be a buyer here, right here. So basically 66 cents right in this range, that's where you get a pullback into lots of support right through here. And that's where I think you buy, and then you see retest those, dollar highs and maybe break out to the upside. Just to mention there, and
Yeah.
that's a normal feeling for people, right? Oh my goodness, what if it doesn't hit that exact penny? So what you do is you leg in, right? So let's
Yeah.
say you put an order at 71 cents, and that's only
Mhm.
1/5 of what you want to accumulate, and then it's 69 and 67, and
I like
basically
it.
there are methods to make sure you gain exposure, but you leave enough in the tank to be able to handle it if it does get low enough. So I think the key with Ethereum is, in looking at the charts here, is that so we did just run up and hit that double top, right? The double top that we hit back in
Mhm.
April. So that reminds me very much of what Bitcoin did. If we flip back to the Bitcoin chart, that was very similar to what we did here. And then we hit that double top on Bitcoin here before backing off. So to see that pullback in Ethereum is basically, it's almost like looking at history of Bitcoin, of what happened, right? And eventually we did come up and break through that level. So I think with Ethereum, you're looking at the same situation, right? So we've hit the double top here, right over here. Now we're pulling back. We may go a little bit lower, but ultimately you buy that pullback expecting eventually that breakout on Ethereum. Solana has been wild. I mean, way further of a move than I even thought possible. To see it go, I think it's about 260% just from mid-October to the recent highs. Now, it has come into some resistance up here. $68 to $70 is a lot of resistance. So it looks like you can start to see all these little tails. That's telling you there's sellers coming in here. Then you had this green candle, a reversal candle the next day. That's also a bearish sign. So you're starting to see kind of some weakening fundamentals and technicals in the Solana chart. So my expectation is for some sort of retrace back down to about $40, right down into this range where it was consolidating. And then the question at that point is, does it get its next leg up where it can go back to 8? $80. I will show you this line here. So if we look at this, right, these were these previous lows of this kind of first initial dip. That'll be a target price at around $80 that at some point I do think it tests. I would say the only thing that I would kind of keep an eye on here is Cardano, right? And just bringing up the chart on Cardano, it's had a run, but if you look percentage-wise at a lot of the other altcoins, they've gone way further. So again, you went basically from 24 cents to 38 cents, and that's only about a 50% move up, and it surely did hit resistance here, but it's now consolidating. So, you know, at some point, the question is, does this have a bigger run to it that could match a Solana, an Avalanche, or some of these other coins? And so it's just one I'm keeping on my radar. I want to kind of watch this consolidation. If it really starts to break north of 38 and 39 cents, I think that's where you could hop on board for a bigger move to the upside.
At last, Cardano receives some acknowledgement, distinguishing itself from other blue-chip altcoins like Solana that have already undergone significant 200 to 300% bull runs. Unlike its counterparts, Cardano is poised for potential massive growth, with the potential to surpass the $1 mark and embark on an exciting journey towards a new all-time high. Share your insights on Gareth Soloway's Bitcoin and cryptocurrency outlook for 2024. Do you align with the belief that this marks the onset of a bull run, presenting ample opportunities for substantial upsides following the approval of the spot Bitcoin ETF? Feel free to express your thoughts, comments, and predictions regarding your favorite crypto assets in the comments section below. For more daily dose crypto news, check out these 2 awesome videos on your screen. Click now and we will see you on the next video.